All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're tackling something pretty important, pregnancy.
Mm.
But we're going to be looking at it through a specific lens, looking at the experience of pregnancy when you're plus-sized.
Yeah, plus-size pregnancy.
And I know this can be a topic that brings up a lot of different feelings.
Definitely.
So we're going to just dive right into this medical guide that we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to hopefully give you some information, some good knowledge.
That's right.
So you can have these conversations confidently with your doctor.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you're just sitting there in that office.
Right.
And it can feel really overwhelming.
Absolutely.
So the more you know beforehand, the better, right?
Absolutely. And it's interesting, some of the things that we found in here that I would never have thought about.
Yeah.
Like, how being plus size can actually make it harder to see those ultrasound pictures clearly?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never would have thought about that.
Yeah.
Is it just because there's more, like, tissue to get through?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like those sound waves, they have to penetrate deeper.
Okay.
And so that can sometimes make the picture a bit fuzzy.
So it's kind of like...
It just highlights why having a skilled medical team is so important,
Yeah.
who are experienced with diverse bodies.
Absolutely.
Makes a big difference.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So the guide also talks about some specific challenges related to being plus-sized.
Mm-hmm.
And one that kind of jumped out at me was gestational diabetes.
Right.
Can you kind of break that down for us? Like, what is that?
Yeah, gestational diabetes, it's a big one. And to understand it, I think it's helpful to think about insulin first.
Okay.
So during pregnancy, your body needs more insulin to manage blood sugar.
Okay.
It's like your cells are saying, hey, we've got a growing baby here. We need more fuel.
Right.
So when you have gestational diabetes, sometimes it's that your body's not making enough insulin,
Okay.
but oftentimes it's more about insulin resistance.
Okay.
So your body is making insulin, but the cells aren't responding to it properly.
Ah.
It's like knocking on a door, no one answers. The message isn't getting through.
Gotcha.
And being plus-sized, unfortunately, can make that resistance more likely.
Okay.
So it seems that, carrying extra weight can sometimes mess with how sensitive your body is to insulin.
Okay.
It's complex, but, the takeaway is that managing blood sugar is super important during pregnancy,
Right.
especially for those who are plus-sized.
Got it.
Yeah.
So regular checkups, early testing,
Absolutely.
those are crucial.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that the guide mentioned that sounded a little scary was pre-eclampsia.
Mm-hmm.
Is that also related to weight?
It can be, yeah. Pre-eclampsia is basically high blood pressure during pregnancy, and, carrying extra weight does increase the risk.
Okay.
But here's the thing, it can be kind of a silent threat.
Oh.
Sometimes there aren't any noticeable symptoms,
Wow. Okay.
which is why those regular prenatal appointments are just so important.
So even if you're feeling great, those checkups are non-negotiable.
Yeah. And of course, if you do notice anything unusual, like sudden swelling, bad headaches, vision changes,
Yeah.
contact your doctor immediately.
Okay.
Early detection is key to managing it effectively.
Okay. So it seems like there's a lot to be mindful of during pregnancy when you're plus-sized.
Mm-hmm.
The guide also touched on potential difficulties during labor.
Right.
What are we talking about there?
Well, statistically speaking, there's a higher chance of needing what we call interventions,
Okay.
like induced labor-assisted delivery or even a C-section.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the important thing to remember, though, is this doesn't mean every plus-size person will have these complications, right?
Right.
It's more about just being informed and prepared.
Exactly. It's about having those open and honest conversations with your healthcare provider and making decisions together that are best for you and your baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've talked about potential challenges for the mother, but what about the baby?
Yeah.
The guide mentioned some possible impacts on the baby's health.
Yes. And this is where things can get a little bit sensitive, but, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Understanding potential risks allows you to take proactive steps to minimize them.
Right. Being aware is half the battle.
Exactly.
So what kind of impacts are we talking about here?
Well, one that often comes up is what we call macrosomia, which means the baby is larger than average.
Okay. And how does that happen?
Well, there are a lot of different factors, but one of the biggest culprits is actually gestational diabetes.
Oh.
You see, when a mother's blood sugar levels are high, the baby gets more glucose than they need.
Oh.
It's like overfeeding them, which can lead to excess growth.
So I'm guessing a larger baby can make labor more difficult.
Exactly. It can make it harder for the baby to pass through the birth canal,
Oh, okay.
potentially leading to complications.
Gotcha.
So that's why managing gestational diabetes is so crucial,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to protecting the baby's health.
Okay, so early testing and management of gestational diabetes is key.
Absolutely.
What else should we be aware of in terms of potential impacts on the baby?
Another concern that's been raised is a possible link between being plus-sized and a higher risk of the baby having heart defects.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is there a clear explanation for why that might be?
It's something that researchers are still studying, but some believe that factors like maternal obesity and insulin resistance could play a role.
Okay.
But it's important to remember this is still an area of ongoing research, and many plus-sized women have perfectly healthy babies.
Right.
They-
It can feel a bit overwhelming, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now I'm worried about my health, AD, the baby's health.
Right.
Are there any proactive steps that can be taken to minimize these risks?
Absolutely. And the good news is that many of these steps are beneficial for all pregnant individuals,
Yeah.
not just those who are plus-sized.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
So what can someone do to proactively take charge of their health during pregnancy?
Well, let's delve into those proactive steps in the second part of our deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
Stay with us.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the potential challenges,
Right.
but now let's switch gears and talk about solutions.
Yes, let's get proactive.
What can you actually do to have a healthier pregnancy?
Well, one of the best things you can do is get tested for gestational diabetes early on.
Okay.
It's a simple blood test, and, knowing your status really empowers you to manage it effectively.
And I remember from the guide that family history plays a role too, right?
Absolutely.
Like if your mom or sister had it, you're more likely to develop it.
Exactly. So if that's the case, definitely flag it for your doctor.
Okay,
They might recommend earlier or more frequent testing
gotcha.
just to be on the safe side.
It's all about being informed and proactive.
Exactly.
Now, what about other pre-existing conditions?
Yeah.
Are there any that someone should discuss with their doctor right away?
Absolutely. Things like high blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea, or any other chronic health conditions. These are all important to bring up.
Okay.
Your doctor can help you manage these throughout your pregnancy and minimize any potential risks.
It really highlights how crucial that open communication with your doctor is.
Couldn't agree more. Don't be shy about asking questions, voicing concerns, or advocating for yourself.
Yeah,
It's your body and your baby.
absolutely.
You deserve to be fully informed and involved in every decision.
Okay, now let's talk about something that everyone focuses on during pregnancy.
Yes.
Diet.
Mm-hmm.
The guide mentioned that crash dieting is a big no-no.
Yeah.
But what does a healthy, balanced diet actually look like for someone who's plus-sized and pregnant?
It's not about deprivation or crazy restrictions.
Okay.
It's really about nourishing your body and your growing baby with the nutrients you both need. Think whole, unprocessed foods like fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains.
And I imagine portion control still matters.
It can, but honestly, I think it's more about making consistently healthy choices rather than obsessing over calorie counting. Working with a registered dietitian can be a game changer.
Yeah.
They can help you create a meal plan that's tailored to your needs.
So it's about finding that sustainable approach that you can actually stick with for the whole 9 months.
Exactly. Pregnancy isn't the time for drastic weight loss.
Right.
It's about supporting healthy growth and development for both of you.
And speaking of healthy habits,
Yes.
the guide also emphasized exercise.
Yeah.
But what kind of exercise is safe and effective for plus-sized individuals during pregnancy?
There are actually a lot of great options.
Okay.
Walking is always a winner.
Yeah.
It's low impact and easy to fit into your routine.
Yeah.
Swimming is fantastic too,
Okay.
especially during pregnancy.
Yeah.
The water supports your weight, takes pressure off your joints.
Right.
And then there's prenatal yoga, which can help with flexibility, strength, and relaxation.
I love the idea of swimming. It sounds so refreshing,
It is.
especially when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, the guide suggested aiming for 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week.
Right.
What if you're starting from scratch?
Yeah.
Like that can feel daunting.
You're absolutely right. It's important to listen to your body and not push yourself too hard,
Right.
especially if you're not used to regular exercise.
Yeah.
Start small and gradually increase your activity level. Even 10 minutes of walking a day is a great starting point.
So it's more about consistency than intensity.
Exactly. And remember, any movement is better than none.
Right.
Even taking the stairs instead of the elevator parking further away from the store can add up.
Now, there's one more important topic we need to address. Smoking.
Yeah.
The guide was pretty clear about the risks associated with smoking during pregnancy.
Yes, smoking during pregnancy is incredibly harmful to both the mother and the baby.
Right.
It can lead to a whole host of complications, including miscarriage, premature birth, low birth weight, and even developmental problems later on.
It's definitely a serious issue.
Yes.
And quitting smoking is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your baby.
Absolutely, and it's never too late to quit. Even if you've smoked throughout your pregnancy, quitting now can still make a difference.
Okay.
There are resources available to help you, so don't hesitate to reach out for support.
It's all about making those positive changes one step at a time.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground here about taking charge of your health, but pregnancy is more than just the physical, right?
You're absolutely right.
There's a whole emotional landscape to navigate as well.
Absolutely, and it's important to acknowledge that those emotional experiences can be unique for plus-sized individuals.
So what are some of the emotional challenges that someone might face during a plus-size pregnancy?
Well, unfortunately, there's still a lot of societal stigma surrounding weight.
Yeah,
And that can really seep into the experience of pregnancy.
right.
Some plus-sized individuals might feel judged or scrutinized,
Hmm.
which can lead to feelings of shame, self-doubt, or anxiety.
That's really disheartening to hear.
It is.
Pregnancy should be a time of joy and excitement, not judgment and shame.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that everyone's journey is different, and there's no one right way to experience pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Your feelings are valid, and you deserve support and understanding.
So how can someone navigate those emotional challenges and find that support?
One of the most important things is to surround yourself with a supportive network of people who uplift and encourage you.
Yeah.
This could be your partner, family members, close friends, or even online communities of other plus-size pregnant individuals.
It's so powerful to know you're not alone
Absolutely.
and to hear from others who understand what you're going through.
Exactly. And don't hesitate to seek professional support from a therapist or counselor if you're struggling.
Yeah.
They can provide a safe and non-judgmental space to process your feelings and develop healthy coping mechanisms.
It's all about prioritizing your mental health and well-being.
Exactly.
Just as much as your physical health.
Yes.
And on that note, we've covered so much ground today as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
What's one final thought you'd like to leave our listener with?
Yeah, it really is all about, finding that balance, taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally.
Mm.
And I think sometimes we forget to, just give ourselves grace
Yes.
and allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling.
Absolutely. Pregnancy is a roller coaster of emotions for anyone.
Yeah,
It's okay to not feel happy and glowing all the time.
right.
Acknowledging those feelings is the first step to processing them in a healthy way.
So for someone listening who might be feeling overwhelmed
Yes.
or anxious after learning all this,
Hmm.
what's one piece of advice you would give them?
If there's one thing I want you to take away from this conversation,
Yeah.
it's advocate for yourself.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, express your concerns, and seek the support you need.
Mhm.
You are the expert on your own body and your own pregnancy journey.
That's so important.
Trust your instincts. Surround yourself with people who empower you, and remember, you are not alone. That is such great advice. It's so easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of information and opinions.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's your pregnancy,
Absolutely.
and you have the right
Yeah.
to make the choices that feel best for you.
Exactly. And remember, there are resources available to support you every step of the way. Don't hesitate to reach out to your healthcare provider support groups or trusted loved ones.
This has been such an enlightening deep dive.
It has.
And I think we've given our listener a lot to think about.
I agree.
Hopefully they're feeling more informed and empowered.
Yes. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And feeling confident in your ability to make informed decisions can make all the difference.
Well said. And to our listener, we wish you a happy and healthy pregnancy.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you in the next deep dive.